Hey, welcome to How to Be a Texan, everybody. We're talking about poker and gambling tonight.
Poker and gambling.
Woohoo! And Kendra's coming to the rescue. So,
Andrew's here. Hey, Andrew. How are you?
Oh,
I'm good.
hey, Andrew.
You been playing any poker or doing any gambling lately?
I'm actually playing Tetris right now.
Tetris is awesome.
Well, thanks for being so invested in the episode.
Hey, what was your favorite video game growing up, Kevin?
Pong. No,
Pong? For real?
I'm just kidding. That was the most boring game ever.
Wow.
No, maybe like Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong was awesome.
Yeah.
I love Donkey Kong. You know the best game that I played? It was called Moon Patrol. You remember that game?
No.
I was just really good at it.
No.
I could play for like 1 quarter at Crystal's Pizza Palace. I could play for an hour. All right, so hey, tonight I thought we'd talk about the game Texas Holdem.
Texas Holdem.
Yeah, and why is that unique about being how to be a Texan? We're talking about Texan.
Yeah.
Why is that unique?
It originated in Texas.
Really?
And then, yeah.
You
Started
sure?
here.
You sure about
Absolutely
that?
sure. Positive. And then it was called Holdem. It wasn't called Texas Holdem.
Right.
It was called Holdem.
Yeah, it was.
Ended up in Vegas somehow. The Golden Nugget was the first place to actually, put Holdem in.
Okay.
And because it came from Texas, they named it Texas Holdem.
Right.
I mean, that's what everybody thinks. I mean, they're not exactly sure where it originated, but
So-
99.9% certain.
I'll go with that.
started here.
I'll go with that 99. I triangulated your fact pattern here, and so I went with a different source, and that was Wikipedia.org.
Okay, I went with
I'm looking at Andrew as I'm giving my citation.
and I
So passive aggressive.
and I went with PokerExpress.net.
Yeah, you have to look at him when you say that.
Oh, I'm sorry, PokerExpress.net.
Wikipedia.org. So Texas Hold'em, it triangulates your fact pattern here, and it says around 1900, the game came up itself. And it came up, the Texas legislator attributed the origin to a town called Robstown, Texas. You know, just crazy. Do you have any idea where Robstown is?
I don't.
It's a suburb of Corpus Christi.
Wow.
I didn't even know Corpus had suburbs, especially in
either.
1900.
I don't either.
Whatever. It's Robstown's a suburb. It's just off to the west side of Corpus. If you're ever going to there, and then it's sure enough. So they're playing it from 1900, and then in 1959, it shows up in Vegas.
67.
59. I've got 59 as the first sighting of Hold'em in Vegas at the California Club.
Oh, this is by Doyle Brunson.
I don't know who Doyle is.
You're right.
I'm just telling you. There was a sighting in 59, and then there was a group of Texans sitting around in Vegas during that time from about 59 to 67. I don't know why these Texans are there.
So here's what it says on poker.net or pokerexpress.net. It does say in 59. Okay, so 3 guys kind of brought it to Vegas. Crandall Addington,
Okay. Yeah.
Doyle Brunson,
Yeah.
and I love this name, Amarillo Slim.
That's a good
Doesn't that sound like a
name.
gambler?
Amarillo Slim.
I don't appreciate that name, Crandall.
Crandall Addington.
Crandall App. No, I know a Crandall.
So they brought it to
don't
Vegas. They brought it to Vegas. Addington saw the game in 1959.
Okay.
He saw it then, but they
Okay.
officially brought it and set it up in the Golden Nugget in 1967.
I see.
So we're kind of both right.
No, I was confirming your fact pattern. It's all good. So we're good. So that's it. Started around 1900, and then around in the 60s, it became popular in Vegas. Now, tell me now, what is the popularity of this game, Texas Hold'em?
Oh, it's huge.
It's the poker game,
the game.
in the planet.
Yeah,
So when they have the World Series of Poker, this is what they play.
that's what they're playing, yeah.
Yeah. And so more of a statement, I want to ask this question because you don't really play it and I don't really play it, right? So we're not really. And Andrew's played a little bit, so he's scavenged around the edges of a little Hold'em, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you know kind of the basics of the game. Okay, so I know the basics. I've played it. I played it some, but
I've played it.
I would be dangerous if I tried to actually go and win or lose money on it.
So the Golden Nugget was the first hotel I ever stayed at in Vegas.
Oh, really?
And the first casino I ever went to in Vegas.
Okay. That's
it was
fun.
me and Kendra. We went with my uncle and his wife, and
He's a big poker player.
Oh, he's a big poker player.
My dad was
Oh,
a
yeah,
big poker,
player.
huge poker player.
Yeah, so we went to Vegas with him, stayed at the Golden Nugget. I lost like, I don't know, $50 in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
I believe it.
So we all went to the casino. We kind of split up, and I started doing the slot machine, and suddenly like my money was gone.
you're done.
So I went and found the group, and they were still playing, and they looked at me and they're like, "Kevin, why is your hair standing straight up on the front of your head?" And I guess I was going like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe
Just
I lost
threw
the
away
money."
$50.
Yeah, that was my first experience in Vegas.
So mine was I went out. My sister Karen lived in Sacramento for 25 years, and I went out to see them a couple of weeks. When I was a young man, probably 23, 24, something like that. And she loaned me her car. She had to work. She loaned me her car. I drove from Sacramento up to South Lake Tahoe, and I went to Harrah's there, and I took $300, and I said, I'm going to go in this casino, and I'm going to gamble. And I won. I won several $100s, and that was the worst thing you could do. Is the first experience is being a winner.
Yeah.
And now you think, I can win every time. Well, you can't. I don't know if I've ever won since then, and I've only been a handful of times.
No, I've intentionally stayed away from gambling.
Yeah, me too.
Because my personality.
Yeah.
Like I like go all in on stuff, and I don't ever want to go into gambling.
Well,
I would like bet the house.
Yeah. Now I've been back several times where you try things, but the fun thing is my dad was a huge poker player, and he was quite good. Now the one gift that he gave me was the ability for me to have a poker face, and so whether I'm happy or I'm extremely upset, my dad I think it's a genetic thing that he gave me a poker face where I can hold it no matter what. And I do think that's a gift. But he would go in and he would work on tells, and he'd work on facial expression or tics or whatever, and that was a big deal for him.
Wow.
And so
he was serious. He was a serious poker player.
Well, and he believed he could make money off of it. So he had a real, I would say, an addiction, and he played a lot as a young man and as a middle-aged man, and then finally he basically told my mother that he was going to get out of it.
So what we do, like when we go to Vegas or something, is number one, I go in with the mindset that I'm going to lose.
Yeah,
right?
I'm going to lose.
I don't go in thinking I'm going to win.
And I say $300, no matter what.
That's what we do.
I take $300, and I'm like, this is entertainment money. I'm going to throw it away, and it's.
And we'll do like $100 a day or something.
Yeah,
and just
right.
When that's gone, we're done. And I'll play blackjack or whatever.
Which is pretty fun. Now the nice thing is, if you can play poker, and you can stay in there, then it can last a long time. You can get in a game, and it can last 10 hours or more.
Yeah.
If you can stay in it. I've never done that. I've got a brother-in-law, and he goes all the time, and he does very well. He'll stay in overnight and whatever.
My uncle does that too. He goes all the time up to WinStar just to practice, but then he'll do like stuff in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like when we're on the cruise ship, he's playing Texas Holdem on the cruise ship.
Right. Okay, so
he's really good at it too.
So let's go back to the genesis of why, and then we'll get into a little bit of the rules of it, and then we'll be done with it. But why because there's a ton of different poker games. And so I grew up and, in college and whatever, we'd sit around and play cards, and we'd play poker just for fun, for pennies and nickels, nothing. But there's all these games, there's, 5-card stud, 7-card stud, draw poker, and then ultimately Texas Holdem. So do you know the reason why Texas Holdem has become so incredibly popular?
It started... Like the popularity took off during the 2000s, and a lot of it was because of television. So they started televising the World Series of Poker events, and those guys are playing Texas Holdem, and it was like, oh wow, that's cool. Also, the internet, you can get on and you can play online now.
Right.
And my uncle does that too. Like he has online groups that he plays with.
Well, there are apps now where all these apps are available where you can play for real money or fake money on your iPhone if you wanted to.
And it was during this time in the 2000s when they replaced 7-card stud. Before that, 7-card stud was the most popular poker game.
Right.
and it was during this era in the 2000s with the internet. And I don't know if you remember, but I mean, we used to watch it too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just fantastic. And
you
so it replaced 7-Card Stud as the most popular game.
Yeah, because you have these
in that
really
period.
interesting personalities, and they wear the crazy glasses and the hats, and I
Yeah.
mean, they just look—they're just crazy.
Did you ever see the guy that wore
personalities.
the glasses that looked like
Eyeballs?
not eyeballs. It looked like a little, like on the Twilight Zone when it's that twirling thing that you're being sucked into.
Yeah.
There's this one poker player that would wear those glasses like that. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And so one time I was at a sales conference and I was doing a presentation for 500 people. Right. I'm up on stage. And I'm kind of going through my thing, and I look out, and one of the guys on my team, he's close enough to where I can see him, and he's got those stupid glasses on just to mess with me,
Freak you out.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
That would have been perfect.
So I called him out. I called him out from the stage.
Nice.
It's like, hey, you, nice glasses.
Yeah. So great.
Yeah. But so all that stuff was going on,
Yeah.
and that added fuel to the fire. But
So-
before that, 7-Card Stud was the most popular poker game.
Well, when you go back to basic poker, and the reason why Hold'em has become so popular is because it has 4 rounds of betting, and it's a much more strategic game. Because when you think of regular poker, you go back to the most base game, and that's 5-card draw. And in draw, you get literally dealer deals me and Andrew 5 cards. You look at them, you make an initial bet, you throw away however many cards you want, and you get those back, and then you bet, and you have your kind of showdown at that time, and winner takes all. And that's draw. And so you have basically 2 betting opportunities and not a long time to really lead up to a lot of strategy in the game. With Texas Hold'em, it's different because just for those of you that don't have any clue on the game at all, and I'm no expert. Matter of fact, I'm an idiot, but I'm smart enough to read this. In that the game is played with everybody is dealt 2 cards down. So those are your 2 cards that everybody gets.
That may be a sound clip that appears in a future episode, by the way.
What's that?
I'm an idiot, but I'm smart enough to read this.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Sorry, that's how my mind works. There's all kinds of
all
stuff
about
going
drops.
on. It's all going on.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
here.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
multiple threads going on.
happy
over
to give you plenty of drops.
Oh,
So in the game itself, everybody gets 2 cards down to begin with, and you can bet on that. That's your first round and so hold on. Let me get the actual betting rounds because this to me is pretty interesting. You have that's the pre-flop. So that's your 2 cards down, and then you get 3 cards up. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's called the flop. And then you bet on that. So that's betting round number 2. So then you've got 5 cards total that you can start playing with. And then all the players, so the 3 of us would start playing with those 5, 2 down, 3 up. And then your third round of betting is called the turn. And that's
So wait a second. How many cards are shared? 3?
5.
5 are shared?
You've got 2
And then
down,
you've got-
5 up.
You got 2 of your own.
Out of
Okay.
those 7 total cards, you have to pick 5 of those and you're betting in the showdown. In the end, you're betting that your 5 are better than anybody else's 5.
Wait. Wait. I'm not following.
There's 7 cards total on the board. You have your 2, or I guess on the table, not on the board.
Yeah.
You have your 2, and then the dealer lays out 5 cards.
5 cards, yeah.
And then you have to pick 5 cards from that.
Those
I see.
5 are community
Okay.
cards.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Because like a flush is only 5 cards,
There's
or a
5
straight is only 5 cards.
There's 5 community cards, but you only use 3 of those.
Yeah,
You
so-
can construct
well,
a hand out
no,
of 3 of those
you-
plus your
Or
2.
you can
You
use
can
4
use-
of those and one of yours.
You can use all 5 if you wanted to.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. Okay.
So it goes back to the base game of draw poker where you got 5 cards.
5. Okay.
Your suit is made up of 5 cards. And so when we go to suits, and so back to who wins. And so when you look at the basic, the poker hands from highest to lowest, you go from royal flush to straight flush. And royal flush is, an ace high. And that was when the origin of the game in the 59 to 60, ace high became the predominant deal. It had always been the ace had always been a 1 versus basically a high card, 12 or 13. And that really changed the dynamic in Vegas, where when ace high went up, then everything was changed. And so the royal flush is your penultimate hand, and that's ace high, ace, king, queen, jack, 10, all in one suit. That's called a royal flush. Then you go to a straight flush, which is 5 consecutive cards in one suit. So it could be an 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 in clubs. And then you got 4 of a kind, which everybody thinks, oh, that's amazing. I got 4 jacks. Well, still, a straight or a royal flush is going to beat that. A full house is then 3 of a kind and a pair. So you've got like 3 10s and 2 9s. That's a full house. That beats everything else other than these prior things I've already read to you. And then you've got the flush, which is just, say, 5 cards. And they don't have to be a straight. You can get a straight, which just says any suit, but it's a sequence of 5 cards. You get 3 of a kind, 2 pair, and then a high card. That's kind of the hierarchy of the 10 ways to win a hand in poker. So just so you know, I think probably most people know that, but I do think it helps just to set that. So out of Texas Hold'em, there are 7 cards that you get to play with. Mm-hmm. You get 2 that are your own. Then there are 5 that dealt. And so somehow a combination of your 2 and those 5, you have to come up with a hand of 5
okay.
that you think is better than mine or Andrew's.
Yeah.
And then you're betting on that 4 different times. And so the reason it got so popular is because people thought that this is a strategic game that I'm either going to bluff my way through to win, or I have the ability to be smarter than you on what I'm going to get in my 2 cards plus 3 out there, or one of my cards plus 4 out there, etc. So there you go. So
have you ever played poker with your kids?
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried. They've not shown any interest at all. And I'm okay with that.
We went through a phase where you were playing poker, you and Aaron and Cameron.
Yeah,
and
we were playing with all the neighborhood.
all the
boys.
neighborhood kids over in Flower Mound used to get together and play poker all the time.
Yeah,
it was.
I remember that.
That's a good phase.
Oh, really?
I can imagine the reason why poker's so popular on TV as well is because it's, or at least Texas Hold'em, is because it can get kind of suspenseful at times. Like as the dealer keeps putting out cards and it goes around and it's like, this guy needs this card in order to take out the other guy. And
well, see, that's the
dudes
strategy.
are standing up.
Oh yeah, no, that's the strategy of it. Is that it's brinksmanship. It's like, well, I'm going to wait and I'm going to bet and stay in until I see that last card, the river. They call it the river at the end. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to kind of have the wherewithal to stay in to beat you. Or I'm not. I'm going to fold and there's no way I can make it because, but bluffs are a big part of it. Mm-hmm. So that's Texas Hold'em. So I think it's a fascinating game, super fun. Great to play with pals, all within reason, I would say, when you're gambling real money.
So when are we going to get a poker tournament together?
Hey, I say tonight. Let's go.
Let's do it. I got some cards. I bought a deck of cards recently. Did I tell you that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Here's why I bought it. Our VP of marketing where I work, he's like a fantastic magician.
Oh.
And so we were at a trade show, and he was standing outside of our booth, doing all these coin magic tricks. And then he pulled out a deck of cards and started doing all these tricks. Oh. And I was like, oh, man, I'm going to learn how to do that.
Okay.
So I came home and, I went to Amazon and ordered some cards, and cards came in, and I started watching YouTube videos. But the problem is it's all about manipulation of these cards.
Oh.
And it takes
I didn't know that.
Years to learn.
Because that's sleight of hand?
It's all sleight of hand, right?
Okay.
And he'll sit there and he'll do things in front of me. Like we went to dinner a couple weeks ago when I was in California, me and another coworker, and he was sitting across from the two of us, and he pulls out a deck, and I always ask him, hey, man, do some magic tricks, like a little kid. So he pulled out a deck of cards, he started doing all this stuff, and it's right there, and we're just amazed.
Oh, wow.
And then he kind of showed us he'll tell us a couple of tricks. He won't tell us everything. But the stuff he does to manipulate the cards is just incredible. And so I thought, man, I'm going to have to invest a lot of time in this. I can't.
Yeah, you're not.
I can't barely shuffle the deck.
I was going to ask you if you're a good shuffler.
Are you a good shuffler?
Can you do that shuffle and then do that?
Do the ruffle thing?
The ruffle thing?
No, I can't do that
Amy
part.
can do that. I can't do that.
I can't do that.
I used to be able to do it.
Oh.
But I lost my touch.
You lost your technique?
Yeah.
Usually after I
It was
shuffle-
probably during that phase of playing
during the
poker
poker
all the
phase.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Like
always
after I
looked good.
shuffle it, like the cards are slightly bent.
Yeah, mine too. I'm not very good at that. I'm not very good at that. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys listening to Texas Hold'em. I do have a couple of ranch updates though.
Yeah, go for it.
You mind if I give you that? And this is a real gag event. So we've got a young lady, Karis, and her baby living with us, and I make her gag every time I even talk about this. So Scout, one of Caroline's barrel horses, is back at the house, and she got injured. You know, I told you about that a while back. So she got injured 2 or 3 weeks ago, and a major gash. And so they'd stitched it up, probably 20 stitches. And when you cut through horsehide, it's a big deal. It's on her back right butt cheek, right? And so it's probably a 8-inch gash. And so she punctured her horsehide somehow. So anyway, Doc Shepard came over the other day, and it had all split wide open. And he basically cut away the necrotic tissue. And he's like, Kyle, you're going to have to do hydrotherapy 10 to 15 minutes a day for the next few weeks on this horse.
What does that mean?
So basically he said, get a hose, stick your thumb over the end of it so that it's got high pressure, and just jam it into that wound and just blast out all the whatever nastiness. I have to do that once a day, and then I spray it over with this basically, spray Band-Aid, this aluminum kind of Band-Aid stuff, and then I put fly spray over the top of that.
Gosh, that's
terrible. It's probably a 4x4 open wound where you're literally seeing muscle tissue.
What did this person do to Scout, man?
She ran into something. So there is an opening of about a 4x4 of horsehide gone on Scout's butt.
They don't stitch it up?
They did, and she broke it all. She broke all, probably out of the 20 stitches, she broke probably 16 of them. There are 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom that are still there that he left, and then he just cut away all the necrotic dying tissue.
That's horrible, man.
So now it's all growing back in, and so I have to do all this hydrotherapy. So that's fantastic. Number 2 is, I told you, I've just planted 20 trees. I've transplanted 20 trees from Oklahoma to Texas, and I have high hopes for that. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
How are the tomatillos?
How did you?
I hope
how
they're
did you
dead.
plan out your? Where you're going to put all these trees?
So it was artistic, and I asked for help, and nobody really cared. So
who'd you ask?
I asked everybody in my house, and nobody really cared. They're like, whatever, Dad. And then I even asked Amy, and she's like, yeah, just don't plant one right there. And that was about it. And then I put these 20 trees all around the arena. I put them all throughout where I put, kind of gaps. And we've had a couple of post oaks die, probably 3 or 4 big 100-year-old post oaks die over the last 5 years. And so I'm trying to replenish that. But these are like 6 feet trees, 6 foot tall trees that need 100 years to get.
Yeah, they'll be good in 100 years from now.
I hope so. But anyway, it was hard.
So you just randomly placed 20 trees across
Yeah.
the whole place?
Yeah, and I hope they live. And it's
You're gonna have
hard.
a forest.
It is hard. Do you know how hard it is to dig up a tree?
Yeah.
For real. It's
done it.
massively hard. And then this ground
And that was
here
in
is like
Oklahoma?
the
when you
ground
dug them
up there was soft because they've got a ton more rain than we have here.
Okay.
And so digging them up was not nearly as. It was still bad. And do you know, like the one oak, I could only get one oak because I think the stem root or whatever, the main root going down is every bit as far down as it is up top. And so I just couldn't dig an 8-foot hole with a shovel.
Wow.
I didn't have a backhoe or something or one of those whatever little scoopy things that you grab the whole root ball with. I just had a shovel. It was very difficult.
Yeah, well, we lived over in North Richland Hills for a while.
Yeah?
And I had to plant some trees over there and stuff. And the ground over there was like concrete, man.
The ground here is like concrete. I had to use a pick the entire time, a giant pick.
Yeah,
And
that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Over in Flower Mound, I don't know if you ever planted much over there, at least where we were at. The soil was completely different.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kind of succulent?
It was like this reddish kind of easy to dig through soil.
No, this is clay.
Yeah,
We have
hard
clay
out
here.
Yeah.
It's like concrete. So.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, so that's the couple of ranch updates. Just hydrotherapy on a massive horse wound.
When's that going to be healed up?
I don't know. While we're recording, Doc Shepard just texted me, says, keep them up. I was asking him if I could let Scout go because I got the donkeys in with her for companionship because she goes crazy because Caroline took Harper back to college and horses are so collegial that they go crazy if their buddies leave them. So I got the donkeys in there. Poor things just pinned up with the horse for companions. And anyway, so it'll probably be another week or two.
How's the garden?
It's no good.
No?
It's on its last leg.
Got any miniature tomatillos?
Well, they're still there.
Are they microscopic at this
They're
point?
still-
They keep
yeah.
getting smaller and smaller.
They're getting non-existent to this point.
Like
Blow
little
those
t-
up in a BB gun.
Little tiny tomatillo BBs.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
nerds.
They'll be back next year. Maybe a little bit bigger. All right. Well, hey, thank y'all for listening to our episode on Texas Hold'em tonight.
Look us up on iTunes and leave a review. Adios.
See you.